designer babies, where parents can pick eye color as well as things like intelligence and height.
Baba Vanga was a blind Bulgarian soothsayer who is well known for her alleged foresight with claims.
Some prophecies from the past, those mind-blowing visions like those by Nostradamus and Baba Vanga about some shocking things that might happen and change our lives forever. People all over the world are still interested and confused by these mysterious predictions, which cover a wide range of global events and phenomena. What are these mysterious prophecies? How many have already come to pass? Should we even be scared? Join us as we flip through the pages of 25 prophecies that are about to be fulfilled and shake the world. Designer babies. Baba Vanga's prediction about designer babies will make you scratch your head. In a 2023 prophecy, she claimed doctors would be producing made-to-order babies in laboratories, with full creative control over their looks and personality. The march of science makes Vanga's crazy ideas seem not so far out there. Makes you wonder if it isn't happening already. The first infant developed from eggs that were matured in a petri dish and then put on ice was actually born back on February 19, 2020. A 34-year-old woman who had some eggs retrieved and stored during fertility treatment in France years earlier made this sci-fi breakthrough a reality. It is crazy how they grew 7 of her lingering eggs in a dish. And if you can also believe it, a mad scientist in Germany started building an artificial womb prototype in 2022. This eco-life thing apparently gives parents options to custom order their kids' traits from a futuristic menu. I mean, the ethical alarms are deafening, but the hospital still wants to churn out 30,000 lab-grown babies every year in the coming decades. After hearing stuff like this, Baba Vanga doesn't sound so cocky anymore. At this pace, playing around with embryos to design our perfect mini-maze could be right around the corner. This technology is going to change everything we know about having kids. But we have to be smart and soul-search about what we're getting into here. Maybe old Vanga was onto something, even if it sounds strange. I have a feeling scientists are about to unlock some really weird, wild stuff. Next is Nostradamus's vision of the intense earthquake that will rock the West Coast and the entire world at large. Sit tight. Intense earthquake on the West Coast. Nostradamus predicted a massive earthquake striking California that would bring great destruction and loss of life. In his prophecy, he wrote, "On the 20th day of Taurus, the sun will shake the earth. The great theater will be ruined. The air, heaven, and earth will be darkened and made obscure when the false god and the holy ones are swept away." This points to the likely epicenter being in Hollywood or Los Angeles. May 20th is the 20th day of Taurus, when the sun enters that zodiac sign. Given that the San Andreas Fault is a fracture in the Earth's crust from tectonic movement, it fits as a prime suspect. While there are small cracks spanning kilometers, the main fault lines are formidable. For years, fears have simmered over the San Andreas Fault finally rupturing. Researchers estimate an earthquake of this magnitude could claim 2,000 lives and inflict $20 to $100 billion in damage, with 100,000 injured. Experts say the gravest consequence is not immediate deaths, but Southern Californians abandoning the region in agony post-disaster. Vital infrastructure like roads, sewage, power, water, and communications would be demolished. Repairs could take over a year, prompting mass exodus and economic collapse. The next prophecy is about the Great Muslim War and its impact on the Israel-Palestine conflict and global relations. The Great Muslim War. Baba Vanga's prediction of a Great Muslim War talks about a big war between Muslim countries. She said it would be started by a non-Muslim group and cause lots of unrest around the world. Since the prophecy is not clear, people have different ideas about what it could mean. Some think the ongoing fighting between Israel and Palestine is connected to this prediction. Over the years, This long and complicated conflict has gotten worse in many ways. It's gotten attention and involvement from all over the world. The dispute is based on land, religion, and cultural issues, so it's often used as an example of tensions in the area and globally. The Israel-Palestine conflict heavily impacts the Middle East, where many Muslim-majority countries are. The war has often caused regional tensions nearby. This has affected political and cooperation ties between nearby countries. It's also been a disagreement point internationally. Different countries and global groups see it differently. The Israel-Palestine war could be part of or lead up to Baba Vanga's predicted Muslim war. The religious and cultural aspects of the conflict match her prophecy about a holy war between very religious countries. The fact that Muslim-majority countries are involved locally could also be a sign her prediction is happening. According to the prophecy, this fighting could make many Muslims want to move to Europe. This could hugely impact European countries by changing the population makeup. It would make it harder for people to fit in and get used to new cultures. Not to mention that it would heat political arguments about immigration, border control, and national safety. These prophets also talked about the potential of superconductivity and a future where transportation is effortless and energy loss is eliminated. But what is superconductivity all about? Superconductivity. It's interesting to think about how superconductivity could change the future. Picture a world where cars and trains can float smoothly over the ground, where planes can fly without polluting the air, and where sending energy doesn't waste any of its power. Lots of experts think this will happen soon, even though it seems like sci-fi. Superconductors can carry electricity without losing energy if they are very cold, usually around -173 degrees Celsius. They can also block magnetic fields while still letting electricity pass through with no power loss. People have been studying superconductors since 1911 to understand how they work. A big step was when Klein Vision made an air car that ran on a little fuel in 2022. This flying car was tested a lot, doing 200 successful takeoffs and 70 hours of non-stop use. This gets us closer to having moving cars all over like in movies. But there are still problems to fix before scientists and engineers can fully use what superconductors can do. We're still on the right track because people are dedicated and don't give up. We're getting closer to a world with better transportation and less pollution. As technology improves and we learn more, it could change how we move and run things. If we can figure out superconductors, we'll keep making progress despite issues because we've already made some advances. We can make amazing tools that we use every day. Another shocking prophecy is Nostradamus' prediction of a powerful young leader that will shape change across the European continent in 2024. Stay tuned. New young leader of Europe. According to Nostradamus, 2024 is prophesied to be a favorable year for Europe. Astrologers suggest that a new leader will emerge on the continent during this time. Described as being between the ages of 20 and 30, this individual is anticipated to possess a friendly demeanor and attentive listening skills. Speculation leans towards the likelihood of this leader emerging in Western Europe. Moreover, it is predicted that their compelling speeches will resonate deeply with audiences, garnering significant support. Many believe that the leader foreseen by Nostradamus will swiftly rise to prominence, either within a government or an influential organization. The impact of their words is expected to transcend Western Europe, potentially reaching Eastern regions as well. The populace of these nations is anticipated to embrace the leader's message, propelling them to become a catalyst for change in the region. Despite these insights, crucial details, such as the leader's name, age, or place of origin, remain elusive, as no specific information was provided by Nostradamus. Nevertheless, anticipation is high for the emergence of this enigmatic figure, whose influence may shape the course of events in Europe and beyond. Here is another 2024 prophecy that is already coming into play. Baba Vanga's prediction rings loud as global extreme weather events disrupt economies and daily life across the globe. Let's get into it. Climate disasters. Baba Vanga's prediction of catastrophic climate-related events in 2024 gains significant relevance when viewed in light of recent and ongoing occurrences worldwide. The surge in extreme weather incidents across the globe mirrors Baba Vanga's foresight of imminent natural disasters. From seismic activity in Japan to intense snowfall in Norway and Scandinavia, these events disrupt normalcy and carry substantial economic ramifications, impacting sectors such as agriculture, transportation, and energy. The escalating frequency of tornadoes, floods, and wildfires underscores the pressing need to confront climate change and its extensive repercussions. The 2024 alien invasion is another one of Nostradamus's predictions that has sparked global speculation on unprecedented encounters and humanity's response to extraterrestrial threats. Keep following. Alien invasion. Nostradamus predicted that in the year 2024, a highly advanced extraterrestrial civilization would overrun Earth, leading to a cataclysmic catastrophe. This abrupt encounter with extraterrestrial life is expected to catch humanity off guard, with the reason behind the invasion remaining a mystery. Reports of unidentified flying objects, UFOs, and confirmed footage released by the Navy have fueled speculation about extraterrestrial activity. The prospect of an alien invasion raises questions about humanity's preparedness and the potential consequences of such an event. What is more scarier than cannibalism? Nostradamus has hinted about food droughts, sparking discussions on cannibalism and urgent food security concerns for the Earth at large. Humans eating humans. In his forecasts for the year 2023, Nostradamus suggested the possibility of food supply line failures, raising concerns about scenarios like cannibalism. While interpretations vary, some believe this prophecy alludes to conflicts or natural disasters disrupting food distribution. Speculation has arisen regarding regions like Ukraine or the Horn of Africa, where political unrest or prolonged droughts have strained food supplies. While unsettling, these predictions underscore the importance of addressing global challenges such as food security and conflict resolution. A renowned physicist, Michio Kaku, discusses the future fight against cancer, envisioning nanomedicine, also known as magic bullets, and the revolutionary toilet-based early detection. Global fight against cancer. During his discussion, the well-known physicist Michio Kaku discussed the battle against cancer in the year 2021. Even though there are now no treatments available for debilitating conditions such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and certain forms of cancer, he acknowledged that there is a promising future ahead. The innovative method of combating cancer that Kaku proposed was termed magic bullets, and it would make use of nanomedicine technologies to target specific cancer cells. This remarkable technology makes use of very small molecules that are found within human cells. It is possible to accomplish this due to the advanced nature of nanotechnology. In contrast, Kaku's hypothesis that our toilets might be our first line of defense against cancer is a thought-provoking proposition that truly gets people thinking. It is fascinating to consider the possibility that the fluids in our bodies may contain some of the earliest indications of cancer colonies, even years before they develop into masses. After they have begun to develop into tumors, it may take up to 10 years for these groupings to be discovered. Despite this, Kaku stated that in the not-too-distant future, humanity would be able to create DNA chips that are capable of detecting these early-stage detection indications of cancer. It might interest you to know that the location where this might take place will be the restroom. Imagine that in the future your toilet could tell you if you have cancer and give you a massive 10-year action plan for it. This would be a significant advancement. In light of this, the word tumor may be eliminated from the English language. This is because we would be aware of the presence of cancer cells in our bodies for many years. In the future, when our children and grandkids will view cancer as nothing more than a regular cold, They may even be surprised to learn that we used to be so terrified of the disease. Therefore, nanotechnology will not only alter the approach in which we combat cancer, but it may also transform our regular toilets into remarkable health guards, providing us with essential early warning indications and more time to combat this awful disease. Now let's explore the fascinating concept of free energy. Similar to mimicking the sun's power, Tesla's groundbreaking innovations, and other future possibilities. Copying the sun's power for free energy. The idea of using free energy is fascinating. Right now, we rely a lot on the sun, which is millions of kilometers away. It produces a lot of energy through a process called nuclear fusion. It's a pity we haven't figured out how to use that energy directly here on Earth yet. But scientists think that one day we might be able to copy the sun's power here. To do this, we'd need a special kind of engine that can keep something called plasma very hot for a long time. We'd also need a strong magnetic field around the plasma. Even if we solve these problems, it would still cost a lot of money to build something like that. However, experts believe that with better technology and the help of robots, we could generate a lot of power very quickly and cheaply, about 500 megawatts in just seconds. Scientists have been exploring this idea for a long time, and it's really interesting to think about. The renowned scientist Nikola Tesla once constructed a machine designed to harness energy from space for free. Today, we understand that even a small fraction of this energy has the potential to heat the entire ocean. Whether it's used to power a single device or to meet the energy needs of the entire planet, this technology can revolutionize power generation. There are even rumors that some countries have made advancements in free energy, but have kept it under wraps. These stories prompt questions about what might be hindering widespread access to free energy if such developments are indeed happening. Time will tell whether these rumors are substantiated and if we can truly transform the way the world operates. Nevertheless, the concept of free energy remains captivating, and speculation regarding its eventual arrival continues to grow. The pursuit of free energy underscores humanity's innate curiosity and ingenuity, as well as our collective aspiration to improve the future. While we cannot definitively predict when or if free energy will become a reality, the ongoing search serves as a testament to our relentless drive for progress. Next is some royal family drama. Nostradamus, the Queen's passing, and surprising succession twists in British monarchy stir excitement and plenty of speculations. British royal family drama. The Queen passed away in 2022. A lot of people loved her, and she had been king or queen for a long time. People in the UK were very sad about her death. Strange things began to happen after she died. A book by the famous old prophet Nostradamus began selling like crazy, breaking all sales records. To a lot of people, the book had nothing to do with the Queen's death. That being said, Nostradamus was mostly right when he said the Queen would die. This is where things get interesting. He did say more than that, though. He also thought that a new king would take the throne after Queen Elizabeth, but the people would dump him right away. Someone who wasn't planning to be king would suddenly take over. These predictions were made by Nostradamus in the 1600s, a long time before Queen Elizabeth's rule. That makes them more interesting. Not only that, but his statements were surprisingly close to what really happened. As Nostradamus had said, Queen Elizabeth was replaced by King Charles III, who was 96 years old. But things get more interesting. Even though he gave up his claim to the throne, Nostradamus said that Prince Harry would become king one day. Since Prince Harry isn't in the UK right now, this makes things even more interesting. His absence makes things even stranger than they were before. To be sure, Prince William is the next person to take the throne. Nostradamus, on the other hand, said that Prince Harry would become king and surprise everyone. A lot of people are interested in how true Nostradamus's predictions have been over time. He wrote his predictions a very long time ago, but they keep happening. We are now very excited as we wait for time to pass and see if Nostradamus' statement that Prince Harry would become king comes true. We can think about the ways fate works and how strange these predictions are. Let's travel down to India, where Sadhguru talked about his perspective on astrology, its usefulness, limits, and the importance of inner awareness for a fulfilling life. The importance of astrological signs. Do you think that astrology is true? Are you sure that the stars and planets can change your fate and your life? There's a video by Sadhguru where he talks about why and how astrological predictions are useful. He talks about the science and theory behind Indian astrology, which is based on watching and figuring out how the stars and planets move. He says that astrology can tell us some things about how our lives might go and what might happen, but it can't tell us what will happen. Also, Sadhguru tells us that it's bad to depend too much on horoscopes and become obsessed with finding out what will happen tomorrow. He says astrology can be a trap and a limit if we use it as a reason not to take responsibility for what we do and choose. He also says that astrology can make us afraid and anxious if we think that our lives are planned out and we have no control over them. Sadhguru tells us not to rely on astrology too much and to use it as a tool instead. It can help us understand ourselves and the world better, but it can't take the place of our own brains and gut feelings. He says it's not a master, but a way to find your way. It can be a friend, but not a boss. He also tells us that our inner state, not the stars and planets, is the most important thing in our lives. He says that the astrology charts don't tell us about how good our lives are. What matters is how we see and deal with things in our lives. He says that to live a happy and full life, we need to become more conscious and aware, and we need to align ourselves with the rules of the universe. In the next prophecy, we will talk about Ray Kurzweil's vision, where he explored the possibility of communicating with the dead through technology and nanobots. Necromancy. People would have thought you were crazy and told you to stop reading science fiction if you told them that one day we would be able to talk to the dead, upload our minds to computers, and have tiny robots running through our bloodstreams. A man called Ray Kurzweil, on the other hand, has been to Bill Gates's house twice because he knows how technology will change in the future. Kurzweil believes that these things are possible. Meet Ray Kurzweil. He makes things, thinks about the future, and is Google's lead engineer. Tech fans have been amazed by his work in artificial intelligence for almost 40 years. He thought of the flatbed scanner, the first real electric piano, and the first speech recognition software that could understand a lot of words. Everyone wants to hear Kurzweil speak, and it costs about $25,000 to hold each event. Raymond Kurzweil says that in 30 years, he believes we will be able to use virtual reality to talk to our dead loved ones. We should look into his thoughts. Even though this seems odd, Kurzweil says that very tiny robots called nanobots will make it possible to take memories from our bodies and store them on memory drives. Following this, AI software will make copies of these memory drives, which will allow it to copy the personality, voice, and even intelligence of our dead loved ones. The people we talk to through these AI models might not even know that they are not our real families. In the past, Ray Kurzweil has been right about 90% of the time when he made predictions. That makes it even more interesting. People are interested in what the future might hold because of what he has done in the past. How we think about life, death, and other people would be completely different because of Kurzweil's dream. There are many new ways to deal with sadness, heal, and feel like things are still going on when we can talk to our dead loved ones through technology. Another is Joe Rogan's vision and his recent research on mental health and awareness, where he explored the surprising potential of psychedelic drugs. Stay tuned. Psychedelic drugs. Joe Rogan thinks that psychedelic drugs could change the way we study awareness and mental health. He says that these drugs can help people with mental health problems like addiction, depression, and anxiety, by giving them new ideas and views. Rogan also talks about how these drugs might improve faith, creativity, and health. New studies have shown that psychedelic drugs might be able to help with several mental health problems. For example, the FDA has cleared psilocybin therapy for depression. Currently, clinical trials are being carried out to see how well these drugs work in treating PTSD and addiction. Researchers have also learned more about how the drug state affects the brain. fMRI studies have shown that psychedelic drugs like psilocybin can lower activity and connections in the brain's key connector hubs. This makes it possible to think freely. Different research projects have shown that psychedelic drugs can change the expression of genes and proteins linked to plasticity, which leads to changes in neuroplasticity. While these results are encouraging, there are still a lot of problems that need to be fixed before psychedelic drugs can be widely used in clinical situations. Fears have been raised about the safety and effectiveness of these drugs, as well as their potential for abuse and misuse. To make sure that these drugs are made and used honestly and responsibly, there are also legal and regulatory issues that need to be fixed. Recent studies and discoveries in psychedelic science back up Joe Rogan's prediction that these drugs would change the way we study mental health and awareness. There is a lot of hope that these drugs can help treat a wide range of mental illnesses and improve faith, creativity, and overall health. However, there are still a lot of problems that need to be fixed before these drugs can be widely used in hospitals. Now let's talk about Ian Pearson's futuristic vision, telepathy, and the social networking of brains, which will redefine communication and learning to a whole new level by the year 2050. Telepathy and social network of brains. Many people like to chat on the internet, but most people still prefer to talk to each other face to face. And we always think changing the volume of our voice helps us get our point across. This idea is called into question, though, by an interesting prediction made by a British futurist named Ian Pearson. About 85% of the time, he's been right. For instance, he saw the rise of smartwatches and music downloads about 30 years ago. Pearson had another great guess about 6 years ago. He said that neurotechnology, a new science, would let us only use our thoughts to talk to each other by 2050. How is this likely to work? Pearson says we should have computer chips in our heads. These chips would connect our brains to very advanced computers in the cloud that are tied to each other by a quantum cloud. We wouldn't have to say a word to send thoughts and words over this network. Imagine what might happen if we thought about them. We could talk, learn new things, and send notes. Also, what if we could get to a huge library and download someone else's skills right into our minds? This wonderful group is called HEA, which stands for RID Intelligence Biometric Avatar. It may sound a little crazy right now, but keep in mind that many statements that people thought were crazy have come true. If Pearson's statement is true, our world would be very different. Brains could connect with each other and change the way we talk to each other. It could also bring us together on a whole new level. But this would also bring up big questions about privacy and ethics as we try to figure out this new part of the mind. In this age of technology that is always getting better, it's both exciting and scary to think about what's coming next. Pearson's prediction makes us think about a time when people can share their thoughts without having to speak the same language. It also makes us more creative. Still, it's not clear if this prediction will come true, but history shows that things that were once thought to be impossible can happen. A new era dawns in 2024 with insights from canon on freedom, awareness, and spiritual growth, teaching us to embrace liberation and practicality for a better world. The year of liberation and practicality. Entering 2024 feels like more than just another year. It marks the dawn of a new era of liberation. This notion stems from listening to canon's perspectives on expanding consciousness. Transcending physical constraints is only part of it, canon says. It is also about attaining an enlightened state of freedom where our souls are unbound and our true selves revealed. In 2024, we won't just speak of feeling free, we will actually live it, transforming how we exist and perceive life. We edge closer toward a future where outdated ideas no longer hinder us, enabling purposeful lives aligned with wisdom. There is a passage from fear-entrenched being to love and light-infused becoming. With this shift comes heightened cognizance of the inherent connectivity binding us to all things. We also awaken to life's greater truths and grow more receptive to surrounding energies. To optimally navigate the change, do not detach yourself from the world. Instead, remain present and authentic with it. What does discovering liberty in the everyday entail? It means grasping that freedom isn't secured through escape, but by how we choose to engage the world. It appears this learning will prove applicable in tangible 2024 contexts too. There are impulses to act on spiritual insights, conducting ourselves by higher self-principles, and ensuring our earthly deeds align with sublime aspirations. Like this video and subscribe for more exciting videos. Also, drop your movie suggestions in the comments below.